Mr. Smith always puts me on the line when he says it could be a doozy. He makes me nervous. For the past week or so, I have been debating between two topics. And so I finally landed on one this evening. And most of you know that I try to come in with current events, things that are going on. And so we're going to have a spirited conversation, hopefully, in regards to the conversation that Cat Williams had on the Shannon Sharp show. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of what he said about everyone in particular, but I've been hearing a lot since the beginning of 2024 about people saying this is the time of where truth is told and secrets are unfolding. And so with that being said tonight, the question that I am posing as of right now, do you feel that telling the truth about individuals, is that a crab in the bucket? We don't want to see our people succeed? Or is it's about time everyone knows the truth? So which is it in your eyes? Is it crabs in the bucket, or the truth needs to be told? Anybody want to go first?
Well, I'll start off because I did look at the majority of that interview that Shannon Sharp had with Cat Williams, and I was kind of like, whoa. But to mention, go back to the crab in the bucket thing, I have seen that where if you're not familiar with what crabs do, you put them in the bucket, and you got the ones at the top, them jokers at the bottom is doing all they can to pull that dog at the top down there with them. And it's kind of funny. I've seen it live several times. But you have to wonder, was there – Cat Williams said he was speaking facts. And a couple of people kind of backed him up, one being Ice Cube on the role that he played in the movie, and the role that maybe Ricky Smiley would have gotten. I don't know what triggered all of this, but, he's kind of I would like to say, a self-made guy. He owns his own, once he goes out, he's his own promoter, whatever. So he said. But I just wonder what triggered him to go at basically Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, Cedric the Entertainer, and, nothing he could really say about Bernie Mac, because I think Bernie Mac and Steve Harvey had a beef at one time, or who was going to be the closer, or, who was going to be the guy on that King of Comedy tour. But when you look at a lot of people's comments, they're thinking that, Cat Williams did this, whether there's truth to those stories or not. But I can guarantee you his next concert is going to be sold out. And not too long ago, maybe right before the holiday, he was up in Shreveport. And I said, if I'd have known he was going to be up there, I'd have tried to see it, because he's one of my – I think he's extremely funny. But I think he was just – I'm like, to answer what you had asked first, I don't think it was a crab in the bucket type thing, but I'd really like to know what triggered it, and, how Shannon Sharp and him even got together to start discussing those topics. But it was a very interesting interview if you hadn't seen it. It's 3 hours long, but I looked at it, broke down, and I got pretty much intrigued with it, engrossed in it, and as they would put sections up on Facebook, I intently watched everything they had up there. I think the longest one may have been, 20, 30 minutes at a time. But you can look at it both ways. It could be he's trying to pull some people down, but if there's any truth to those stories, he may have some legitimate points, and I think we all can have some talking points if you paid attention and been reading what's going on with this whole Cat Williams and Shay ordeal.
Well, he did come out and say the main reason why he came on there was because all those comedians had come on prior and lied. And so he was basically coming on to set the record straight. So that was the catalyst for him coming on there. So I personally feel it was a lot of truth. A lot of people have been coming out not only agreeing with or confirming what he said, but actually are showing video proof of what he said. They show pictures or videos of Cedric the Entertainer after the joke has come out, several jokes he told later on his own as his. And they've shown, things with Steve Harvey and things of that nature. So it's interesting to me because at a certain point we have to, the truth has to come out. My mom always taught me what goes on in the dark will come to the light eventually. And I think that Cat Williams is just the type of person that he is his own man. And he doesn't owe anybody anything. And he spoke a lot of truth and not just about the entertainers, those particular entertainers, but he spoke a lot of truth. I actually watched the video on YouTube itself and got to learn more about him and admire him even more as a man throughout the process. But I'll get someone else's opinion. So was it more of, crabs in a bucket mentality, trying to pull your fellow man down, or was it's time for the truth to be told? What is your opinion?
This is Ayani. I have not seen the interview. I've only been privy to bits and pieces of it, but I've heard a lot of talk about it. And as far as I'm concerned, Hollyweird, and let's just be honest, some of these comedians are entrenched deeply into Hollyweird, is all about glitz, glamour, smoke, and mirrors. So a lot of people do things to protect their reputation, to further their career and whatnot. And unfortunately, some of those comedians and others that we like or idolize are doing the same thing. It is a good idea to just remember that these people are human. And unfortunately, as such, they can fall into those traps where they feel they have to do those things to further their career, to line their pockets, to protect the image, to pay the baby mamas when they got 15 of them, that type of thing. It is unfortunate that some of these people are doing that because, like I said, some people idolize them. And we have a lot of young people that look and think, oh, I want to be like such and such, and does not realize that such and such has built their career on lies. They do not realize that such and such has stabbed 500 million people in the back. They don't realize that such and such is actually human. So for him to, for Cat to, quote unquote, take the covers off of a lot of people, I'm sure it angered a lot of people, but I hope that it woke a lot of people up. I don't believe it was a crab mentality that caused him to do it. I think he just got tired of the lies that people were shoveling about. And they do it so easily and so effortlessly that they think they have to continue to do it. Some people are addicted to lying. Some people are addicted to stealing. And if that is that person's basic, their basic character flaw or their basic mentality or whatever, that's what they think they have to do, so that's what they're going to do it. So, no, I don't think it was a crab in the bucket mentality causing him to do it. I simply think that he got tired of the lies. He knew a lot of truth, and he wanted to spit a lot of truth. So that's what he did. That's just my 2 cents.
Thank you. I definitely agree. Anybody else have an opinion? We don't let too much dead air go. We will start calling names.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Smith.
Uh-oh. No, I'll say something else. A lot of people are trying to say that. Oh man, I lose my train of thought. I guess that's what getting old does to you. But a lot of people are trying to say, some of the things that, like Cat Williams mentioned, the Cedric the Entertainer. I know the joke exactly he was talking about. If you look at the Kings of Comedy, and you see where he used this spaceship, said he was gonna make it like a Buick, blah blah blah. Cat did that joke, and if he did it before, but a lot of people saying, man, we've been doing this comedy thing for years. Nobody even knew who you was back in the late 80s, early 90s. I guess, well, we have to say whatever year that Friday After Next came out, I can't say that was the first time I saw Cat Williams. I thought that was a pretty hilarious role he played as Money Mike, the little pimp. Mm-hmm. And that was probably his breakout. But according to him, he was doing comedy, back in the 90s, because he's like 52, 53 years old. And I know Steve always, the thing that got me, you see Steve Harvey on his show when I used to watch it in the afternoon. And he would always, some of the people that, a couple that helped him out, he had them on his show, and it kind of, he got very emotional when they were there because they helped him out when he was supposed to be down and out. But according to Mr. Williams, Steve was never homeless because he said he and Mark Curry worked together, and they were making $3,000 a show, approximately pocketing $15,000 a week. And so he questioned that about Steve being homeless. And the thing that really got me, because I have a friend back when Kings of Comedy came out, Steve had the, well put together fro and everything. I had a buddy that looked just like him. They could be twins. Even in the Army, he wore his hair. He had a fro, and nobody would even mess with him about it. But when he told me that was a man piece, that kind of floored me right there. And and he called the dude Mr. Potato Head, and saying he don't get roles in movies because he can't talk. Dude doesn't really. He butchers the English language, but like he said, he has his own thoughts about that, So, but it's interesting, and I'm just trying to see if there's going to be any, what the youngsters say now, going to be any clapback from that, And I think
there was a little.
I mean, Ricky Smiley came out, but he really didn't. I don't know. He defended himself, but nobody's really dogged Cat Williams for what he's done.
No.
And I was just looking at one guy, Bruce. he was saying he hoped that whatever happens, they can reconcile and do whatever. He said, if you're a man, come at me. He said, if he'd have been him, he said he'd have went to L.A. and then some furniture would have been moved, But so, a lot of talk going around.
Yeah, it's been a lot of talk, and interestingly enough, it has not been a lot of clapback. Other comedians have come out and responded and said certain things. I think DC, I forgot his name, but he came out and he said all of it is true. He just
DC Young Fly.
DC
Curry. Donald DC Curry.
Yes. DC Curry said, all of it is true, but he just wouldn't have said nothing. He just wouldn't have said it. And so then that even goes into more of a topic. So if we know that something is untrue and people are profiting off of the backs of others, are we going to just sit there and allow it to happen if we know that it's going on? Like, at what point do you say, I've had enough and I have to say something? So I posed another question out there. I think there are a few people on the line, so I would love to get some other opinions. But before I do that, I just want to let you know Everett Cat Williams is actually going to be in New Orleans in March. So,
okay,
if you want to try and go.
See those dates and see.
Yeah.
Might have to make that right.
So does anyone else have an opinion, a comment on the discussion tonight? Mr. Smith, I thought you were going to say something earlier. Are you still there?
Peace and blessings, family. This is Forrest. I'm just tuning in.
Hello, Mr. Forrest.
How are you?
Welcome, Brother Forrest. Welcome.
Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, this is Marcus. Just tuned in just now. And Happy New Year to everybody. And the topic, I haven't really heard enough. I mean, I haven't heard a whole lot to be able to really, comment on it a lot. But the only thing I could say is that I guess, Mr. Williams is, or Cat Williams, he's expressing his experiences, and he's not saying anything that ain't true. So that's what I can say to that right now.
If someone may need to mute their phone. Getting a lot of feedback.
No, that was me. I think I was on the phone here and I went on the app, and I can't do both, so I'm just going to stay with where I am right now.
Okay. And Mr. Marcus, you are correct. It has been a lot said on the topic. But that's why I kind of picked that one tonight, just to get a point of view, and not just so much about Cat Williams and his interview, but more along the lines of, at what point are we going to stop allowing falsehoods to be told? And if we do allow falsehoods to be told, are we, compensatory to the action? If I know you're doing wrong and I don't tell anybody, then am I just agreeing with your wrongdoing, I guess? So does anybody else have any comments about specifically Cat Williams, or what I just said about, knowing someone is doing wrong, telling the truth? Or do you feel that you would be considered? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have another comment about your last question, about when would you do something or something along those lines. I kind of look at it as like, there's a leak in the ceiling, and it's kind of dripping one drop at a time, and you put a glass there. You're aware that it's going on, but you're not worried about it because, it's not critical at that point. And then the next time you pay attention to it, there's a little more in the glass. And when the glass gets about half full, you're like, oh, man, is this really going to stop? Is it ever going to stop? What should I do? But you're still not, it's not critical at that point. But then when that glass gets up there near the top, when those lies are flowing, left and right, and people are doing the wrong thing to get what they want, and it becomes critical, that's when you take more notice of it. And it's like, okay, when this gets to the point where it starts boiling over, when it starts overflowing, what do I need to do? Should I do anything? Do I replace the glass and let it go on? Do I repair the ceiling? Do I tell people that these people are lying? Do I show them up? I don't want to make enemies, but, I'm really tired of all this stuff that's going around. And I think that may have been that point when things just started overflowing for Cat Williams. I don't know an extreme amount about him, but everybody has that point that they get to when they have to do something, they have to act. And I think that's what happened to him. I just, I pray that there is no negative experience in regard to this for him, because I've taken notice of him over the years, and he's kind of grown on me. He's a really funny guy. I didn't think so in the beginning, but much like Bernie Mac, I couldn't stand Bernie Mac in the beginning. But over the years, as he settled down, kind of became a family man, and his jokes kind of, took a turn more toward the cleaner version, then I started taking notice of him. And I think that may be happening for me with Cat Williams. And to learn, that his IQ was so high, that intrigues me more. It makes me want to dig more into him to find out, more about his life, what he's done, where he's going, what he thinks about stuff. But, again, that's just my 2 cents.
Permission to speak?
Please, go ahead, of course.
All of what we're talking about up here is nothing new underneath the sun, tell you the truth. You just got to go back and look. I'm going to touch on that in a minute. One of the things that you put on the table, and one of the things that the young lady just got finished speaking about just now, like you said, if you know something, you don't speak out, are you a part of the problem? But sometimes I'm in a situation right now just like that, and I can't speak out. I mean, I could, but if I did, it's going to affect a lot of other people, and it's not detrimental for me to say anything. I believe that your mama told you right. What's happening in the dark is going to come to the light eventually. And even if it don't, I know that I have to keep my mouth shut, because if I don't, it can affect a lot of people. It ain't got nothing to do with anything. And so when we look at the Cat Williams thing, he's telling the truth. David Chappelle told the truth. What's the young lady name?
Monique.
Monique told the truth. There's been a lot of people telling the truth about these things that's been going on behind. I heard somebody mention Holly Weird. It ain't nothing. You know what the worst scenario about all this is? It's all a us, the melanated section. Look how that's making us all look. You got T.D. Jakes in here. You got Puff Daddy. You got Jay-Z. You got all these melanated people in the limelight. You know, if we ever going to get straight collectively, you know, as a people, man, these things that's in here, and we're talking about it. Like I said, it's nothing new under the sun. I can put it better by saying this. It's just the roosters that come home and claim they own, the stuff they're doing behind closed doors, you know, and now they're being ousted. But you got to go back and look at what Monique said. She ain't worked since she spoke out against Oprah, but she was right and she was true, because look what's going on now. Look what happened with the color purple. Look at what's going on with her. She spoke out. You see what I'm saying? Then you have somebody else speak out on it too. So we have to do better collectively as people. Now we can't do anything. Those of us on this line can't do nothing about what they're doing, what's been done, or what's happening, what's been going on for centuries. But collectively, we just have to do better as a people and the rest.
I agree. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Anyone else?
You know, I've sit back purposely because I kind of wanted to hear what everyone else had to say before I made a comment. And I pretty much agree with a lot of what's been said. You know, but the biggest thing that gets me about it all is, like someone said before, this is not the first time. It seems like every so often a major scandal comes up involving nobody but us. Now, is this designed by the system? Or is this something that just takes place periodically at certain intervals? And it's always the people involved that have seemed to have been untouchable, that have been out in the limelight for so long, that have been praised for doing good in communities and starting programs and all of this. You know, because Steve Harvey was one said he takes a bunch of kids to his ranch in Dallas. And all they do is they're out there and they're mentoring these kids and all of that. Well, when you hear stuff like this going on with him being involved, it should kind of make you wonder, what kind of mentoring are they getting? You know, the same thing with P. Diddy. It would make you wonder, if you're out mentoring kids, what exactly are you telling them? How are you preparing that child for the future? Better yet, how does it make these kids feel when things like this are brought to the light about you? And they were just in your midst, listening to something totally different than what they're hearing now. I mean, do we fall back on, oh, well, you know, they're human? Or do we hold these people in positions accountable? You know, and if that's kind of what I feel like Cat Williams is doing. He's merely shedding the light, holding these people accountable for who they are and not for who we see them to be. And I kind of feel like that's the big draw with it all. Because if all you ever saw was Steve Harvey's show, listened to him on the radio, did Family Feud and all of that, you would swear this is a stand-up guy. There would be no way he could do nothing like that. But then when you hear somebody come out, and then, the next question being, how much of this do people actually believe? There are some people that have come out and I know Mark Curry was one, because they did the joke that he did and then turned around and did the one that Steve Harvey did, and it's the same joke.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, like I said, I just think that Cat Williams is not trying to do the crab in the bucket, so to speak, but is holding these people that are at high standards to higher standards, holding them accountable, because these are the ones that you see. These are the ones that's in the headlines. These are the ones that are making names. These are the ones that are talking about what they do with the youth in America. And I'll get off my soapbox now.
Permission to speak.
Go ahead.
First of all, how's everybody doing, brothers and sisters? I'm hoping everybody's doing fine. And I love each and every one of you. I really do. But I got to speak from the heart, brothers and sisters. And I got to speak this. I'm not a spring chicken. I've been around for a while. And I do a lot of research. And this is nothing new, brothers and sisters. So if you think it's something new, I'm wondering where you've been. Really, where you been? We live in the United States of America, one of the most corrupt countries in the world, period. It's on the same par of Sodom and Gomorrah, if you want to go biblical. Let's be real, brothers and sisters. Let's understand where we're at. We're in the belly of the beast. That's where we're at. Now, to totally understand where I'm coming from, that means that you have to have done your research. If you haven't done your research, then you ain't got a clue as to what I'm talking about. I'm not naive about America. I'm not naive about how America came into inception. I'm not naive about us. I'm talking about melanated people still not knowing who we are. Still not knowing who we are. We don't know our true identity. So we take on the identity of whoever gives it to us. Why is that the case? How come in 2024 now, we still don't know who we are? How come in 2024, we're still talking about things that has nothing to do with finding out who we are? And the reason being is because we don't control the dialogue. We don't control what's being said. We just go along with what's being said. And I'm going to say one more thing before I leave. You see, brothers and sisters, we haven't solved the number one problem that we still are dealing with. And that number one problem is the fact that we are still a colonized people. Now you have to ask yourself, what do I mean by a colonized people? See, there's a process that we haven't learned. And that process enables us to decolonize ourselves. The fact that you probably don't know what I'm talking about is part of the problem. until we become competent in learning the process of decolonizing ourselves from the people who colonized us, then what you're talking about tonight will continue to happen. Because I don't have time to really talk about things that goes on in Hollywood and, in Walt Disneyland, Walt Disney World, pedophiles, the whole bit, because I'm busy working with others to decolonize melanated people finally. And I'll conclude on this. What I mean by decolonizing, I'm talking about the process that the African states went through back in the 50s and 60s when they became independent states, when they decolonized themselves from countries like Great Britain, France, Europe, and so forth. What were we doing when our African brothers and sisters were decolonizing themselves from the colonizers? What were we doing? And I yield.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the idea that it is more. It's much more important things than this. I can completely agree with you. And thank you for the words to encourage some of us who don't know to research what you were speaking of. I appreciate your thoughts and your words greatly. Thank you. So we is there anyone else that has any comments or thoughts on not necessarily this one person in particular, but the idea that if we don't say something in the situation, are we compensatory to the action? Or will we be looked at in the community as snitches? Or, you quote unquote work with the man. If you're not being honest about things that are going on. I grew up where it says if you see something, say something. But at the same time, there were certain times you knew not to open your mouth. So what is anybody else's idea or thoughts on that?
You saying if you see something, say something?
Yeah, that used to be one of the slogans. If you see something, say something. If you see something bad going on, then you need to say something. But a lot of people in our community don't do that.
Yeah, because, I didn't witness this, but I talked to my uncle quite a bit. And he's like 80 years old now. And I remember him as a teenager. And he always goes back and tell what mama, my grandmother, who I was very close to because I spent a lot of summers down there. And she would always tell them if they saw something. And it's just like an older folk mentality. Don't say nothing. If it's not your business, stay out of it. But I'm a firm believer that if I was to see someone receiving harm, if I could help them, I would. But if not, I would probably try to call someone to intervene. But you mentioned a great thing, people like that kind of make you a snitch. If I see something going on and it's going to cause that other person bodily harm, we're probably in the wrong for not speaking up in the other person's behalf or doing what we could do. But, a lot of situations you don't intervene in, family disputes, what have you. If you could de-escalate the situation without truly getting involved, yeah, you should say something if you see something. And just a caveat on what you were talking about earlier, grabs in a bucket. I just happened to, I was looking at a ball game, and I just happened to switch to the Republican debate, and they're just sitting here bumping their gums, and I'm kind of reading some of the comments, but it's only two people, the former governor of South Carolina and this knucklehead from Florida, DeSantis. And this is on CNN. Now, you think if you was going to have three presidential candidates from one party, all three of them would be debating. But guess what Fox News did tonight? They had the town hall in Iowa with Donald Trump. So that's one network. They don't really like each other, and I'm surprised that this so-called liberal channel is hosting the conservative Republican debate. And it was just kind of funny that one channel, instead of probably saying, okay, we could both do it, but they got Brother Trump in a whole nother state while this deal, and that's trying to convert or make viewers come on over here and don't even look at that. And that's supposed to be y'all's, if that's their party, there's no unity there. And it's just funny. So, like I said, them the kind of things I get into it a little bit. Like I said, all the presidents and whatever kind of have not changed my lifestyle. And I'm going to tell you what, every time the brother that spoke before, been knowing him for years. And I get a text every day. And if y'all would like, I can forward them to you. But everything that he spoke earlier, he lives this every day. And make you think, what can we do? So I just wanted to share that with you. But I found it kind of funny that one network got this going on and the other one doing all they can do to try to bring them down. But that's just the way of the world. So I've said my 1, 2, and 3 cents worth tonight. Brother Harris, if you are on the line, I don't really expect you to be on the line with what you went through today. But if you are, I just wish you a speedy recovery. Take your time. Don't rush back to work, son. All right, that's all I have for a moment.
Thank you, Mr. Everett. I believe a good bit of us have been on the call for a while, so they kind of know the topic. They're just really being quiet. Any of the new CCC members have anything to say?
Oh, you read my mind, Ms. Angela.
Well, I'll chime in real quick. I look at things a little bit different for the most part because I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot. I think I really grew up too fast, but that's another story for another day. But maybe y'all can follow me on this, maybe not. But everybody has their own opinion. But okay, I'll say this. I made this point before. A magician on stage always misdirects your attention to something so that you can't see what's really going on. It's always going to captivate you somehow. You'll never know how the trick is done. But it's right there in front of you. But it's just that you're captivated by something else. But when you look away from what's got your gaze and you start to look at other directions, you might see something that isn't really covered up. because it can't be covered up because it's out there, but everything else is put there to keep your gaze. Now, case in point, remember, some of you might remember this, that subway incident that happened. I think last year, a veteran guy subdued some guy who was, being aggressive towards people on the subway in New York City. And this guy, I guess he died or something after this whole thing, this ordeal. That was something, that the media picked up. And they ran that thing. Now ain't nobody else talking about it no more. It's on to the next new thing. There was the guy, somebody help me with this. The cop who kneeled on the guy. And he ended up going into heart failure and he died. And they took that and they ran that. Now it's almost a distant memory. People refer to it, people remember it, but it ain't the new next topic. So it's a never-ending story. But the story is distraction, it's misdirection. And that's what's keeping, in my opinion, a lot of us in like a lower state, a lower frequency. Our antennas ain't really up, in my opinion. Because all of this stuff is designed to do what? To distract people and catch their gaze. And it's being done to everybody. Everybody this is being done to. Everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's something going on. So the way I see it is, if there's all of this stuff going on, there's fires everywhere. I get in the center and I stop and I say, wait a minute. What's really behind all of this mess? That's what I start looking for. Let's say I see that, but what's it covering up? That's what I want to know. Now, I'm not saying that, people don't have things that are worth listening to. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, the way I view it is I look beyond that sometimes. Because although it may be true what is coming out, and it ain't nothing new under the sun. Yes, this has happened all before. This is a never-ending cycle. What is it covering up now is what I want to know. And that's just how I look at it. I mean, good, bad, or indifferent. And with that, that's all I have to say for now. Thank you for the time.
It's funny that you should say that, because a lot of people said, "Oh, we are sensationalizing this interview with Cat Williams." All the while, the names of all the people involved with Jeffrey Epstein, his list is coming out, but you don't hear anything about it. Everybody's so hyper-focused on this sensational piece that they just slide all the other stuff by you, and you just never know. So that may not necessarily be the reason for this action, but it's an example of what you were talking about, where there's always something that's a distraction to the big picture of what's really going on. And thank you again for your contributions. I'm almost positive that we have some of our new CCC members in attendance tonight, and they're actually about to start bringing topics themselves, starting next week, if I believe correctly. So I would like some of them to come on and give their opinion. No opinion is shot down. Everyone has an opinion. It's a place of welcome, not condemnation or judgment. So if any of our new CCC members have anything that they would like to, any input, I would really appreciate that tonight.
All right, Miss Angela, before you do that, I'm going to give them a chance to catch their breath and get their thoughts together if they do have something to contribute. But I just want to put a message out to the young ladies, all the ladies that's on the, some of them are aware, but there is a show that comes on Tuesday, and I try to listen to it when I'm not. I have another obligation at the same time this show comes on, but it's Miss Carol, I'm sorry, and the Pink Sofa Talk. Now, normally 3 Tuesdays out of the month, is just for ladies, and it comes on at 7:30 Eastern on Tuesday. But right now, they are introduced us last night about the Daniel fast. It's a 20 days Daniel fast, and she has all the information on different recipes, different menus if you'd like to participate in that. And it's a 20-day deal. So you might be one day behind, but who says you can't start? And it's just, a way to eat better, eat healthier, get your mind and body and spirit in one. But I just thought I thought about that just if, we got a lot of listeners here, and I'm just saying it's up to us to support these other shows as well. But that one just came to mind right now, and because she did wish us a happy 450, a happy New Year. And like I said, I'm going to try to figure out how to set up a group text between us so I can forward the stuff that I receive from other hosts on to you guys so that you're aware of what's going on within the Grown Folk Network, so we can become a bigger and better network and strive to do bigger and better things in this new year. Now that I've said that, hopefully some of the newer members have some thoughts. Maybe it's not on what Miss Angela talked about. She says she's a current event person. So if you can elaborate on what is being talked about or just whatever's on your mind, this is that show where you can talk about anything. So I'll mute myself once again. Thank you.
Sister Angela.
Yes, sir.
Okay, hopefully we can inspire some people, because some people will just listen, and you got people like us that'll ding in and say something, chime in. To piggyback off of what Brother Leon and Brother Bay said, and they said enough. I really don't need to say any more, but I just want to say to my dear Brother Gardner and Brother Hamp, if he's listening, and to you, Sister Angela, because you would even help put more sunshine on the page that we have now. We have a website, and I'll make sure that I text it to you, Brother Gardner. I don't know if we have Sister Angela's information, but it's grownfolk.com. It might be grownfolktalking.com. I think it's grownfolktalk. I should know, but I promise you, after tonight I will, because I'll talk to. In fact, I'll give Miss Carol a call if that switch over. But now, Brother Gardner, we need you. No high school pictures, brother. We need you, Sister Angela, Brother Hamp, and Brother Andre. You guys could put your picture up. We need for you to send it to Brother Jorge so he could put it up on your page, because now you can send people to your site. And Brother Bays, listen, I need a picture of him from when he graduated Montclair High out here in New Jersey, too. Brother Leon's picture's in tow. I'm taking mine and sending it to him tomorrow. So very important, so that this way people will know what CCC is all about. They tap the button and go right to all of your shows. But let me say this to Sister Angela, since she's emceeing right now. I listened to, because I really wasn't interested. They said, oh, you're to hear what Brother Cat Williams is talking about. And I was like, she was here, so I said, well, play it, because I had a little time to listen. And the thing is, you know, beating up on poor little old Steve. And Leon said everything the cat said was true. Yeah, that's true. But, you know, let me say this. I was taught by my aunt. She said, you know, if you don't have anything nice to say about anybody, don't say nothing at all. So even though Cat and Leon is very perceptive with these things, so I respect my brother's intuitiveness. But when Cat was talking about these people, and then I listened very carefully for it, because he was on an interview with Shannon Sharp, and the football player who I know Brother Gardner knows about. And he went from there to other people's shows, because earlier tonight on Francesca's show that we had to cover, Sister Botany came on and mentioned something about some ladies' show he came on. So he's spreading the wealth of information that he has, and it may be true. I remember hearing Steve Harvey, because up here in New York, he's on WBLS. That's an FM station from New York, and he broadcasts every day, Monday through Friday, with his crew, nephew Tommy and some of the other ladies. And he had mentioned that he had been homeless before he got his big start. Now, according to Cat Williams, he refuted that, and he said that my man got paid $3,000 a week. I listened very carefully to what he was saying. Now, he also said, because Shannon Sharp asked him, he said, brother, from what I understand, you're a member of the Nation. I know when we hear the Nation, we talk about the Nation of Islam. So he said, yes, and the Honorable Minister Farrakhan called me one of his sons. So, you know, I've been around a lot of the brothers from, they call it the old guard now, all right? But I've been around a lot of the brothers, and I was familiar with Muhammad Speaks and things. We always were supposed to uplift each other. So if Minister Farrakhan called you one of his sons, even the minister had now, at one time, he spoke about Malcolm in a way under the tutelage of Elijah Muhammad, and he said that Malcolm was traitorous. But then now if you listen to him speak, he upholds Malcolm, because a lot of the brothers back then have turned into, they went orthodox with Islam. The same thing Malcolm had brought back from Mecca. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is he called Steve Harvey potato head. And then he said about Cedric the Entertainer wanted to bust his belly. All right? And they talked real bad about Ricky Smiley. He said he wasn't funny. And certain things that he said, now, I agree with, because I've looked at Ricky Smiley. He never seemed too funny to me. And then it was this jealousy thing when our dear brother Bernie Mac was alive. And they said Steve was kind of jealous. Well, hey, Bernie was kings of comedy, if you look at it, because he had the funniest routine. And behind him was D.L. Hughley. That's my opinion. I listened to Steve, all right, and I listened to Cedric, and they were okay. They were okay. I mean, Steve can tell a story real good. I mean, I don't think his calling is in comedy, but he got lucky with it, because I know some, back in 92, I'm going to finish with this. I went to comedy shows, left and right. Up here in Newark, New Jersey, we had Terminal D, and I was on their show. I came to the comedy night every Wednesday. They had a gentleman named Terry Hodges, Cool Bubba Ice. Those guys were funny. I mean, you didn't want to sit in the front row on comedy night with them talking, all right, because they would get on you. So what I'm simply saying is, I heard Sister Angela say, yeah, that's right. You know, like Brother Bay said, it's a distraction. We're talking about them, and we got work to do. And Sister Angela, Brother Gardner, this Saturday, because I know we all got things we have to do for quality of life, I have a brother who was on the panel with Professor Leonard Jeffries. He's coming in. The brother's name is Amali. He wrote a book, and we supported the brother when he came to a book signing here in Newark. And it was called Reparations 1982. He was on the panel. The brother's 81. I heard him when he was talking in the bookstore. Powerful brother. He's 81. He looks 41, and he moves like he's 41. And when he was talking, I went to him. I wanted to do something to distinguish myself. So when I walked up to him, I shook his hand. I said, "Brother, I'm buying your book. Are you plant-based?" And you guys know what that is. That's when you're on the vegan diet. He said, "I sure am. Been on there for 50-something years." I said, I'm jealous because I've only been vegan now for 11 years, I told him. So we talked. When they had the March for Reparations in Washington on November the 4th, which me, Sister Deborah, y'all familiar with Deborah, we all went down. Deborah had a daughter and her 2 granddaughters with her. And we went down there to support. We walked from Malcolm X Park to Liberty Park. That's where where Trump did the photo op. We had the Bible turned upside down. And Uhuru 3 is the name of the organization. They were there, and then the Palestinians were right across the street in front of the right. And I'm talking about there's a lot of them down there. Our bus pulled up at 5 o'clock to leave, all right, and you could feel the spirit of the Palestinian people in front of the White House. And I asked my friend, I said, get a snippet of that for 2 minutes. I mean, if the place lit up. They didn't have no lights on down there. I could see that, okay? They didn't have and the place just lit up like Most High put them there to say what they want to say. Now, would it solve anything? They're not listening to them. They could care less. I heard just recently Biden was in a black church with the Disappearing Act vice president, okay? And she was with him to drum up votes down there. I forgot what state it was in. Y'all probably heard it because it's on the Tell Live Vision on their mainstream news. I haven't turned this TV on in 2 years. I listen to alternative. Then I judge for myself. Like Leon says, you do your homework, all right? I listened to him talking. And then there was some conscious people who got up and said, hey, when are you going to do a ceasefire? And he said, there'll be a pause. If I'm using the right word, but what happened? A reduction. I'm sorry. He said there would be a reduction in it. Now, a reduction meaning what? Instead of dropping 500 bombs on those poor people over there, you're going to reduce it to what? 400? 350? So, once again, we all see what this government is complicit with the murderous acts over there in Gaza. And like Brother Leon said, that's our land. Well, historically it may be, but in the meantime, they're occupying that space. Before we moved into our houses, other people occupied the house. Before I moved into my brother's house, somebody was here before my brother became the landlord back in 1987. You have to honor and respect people in their land, all right? So the bottom line, family, is this Saturday at 6:10, I have Brother Amali coming in. They unjustly incarcerated him and his wife. They had a bazooka, one of those armored cars in front. They taped off the area, and they arrested flash grenades in the back and the front. He's going to tell you about what he's doing. He goes to trial in February. So long story short, thank you for your ear. I know I didn't see y'all know I got my own show. You see what I do, and I want to thank you, Sister Angela, for listening, for the listening audience. But this Saturday, I want to invite my colleagues to come on this Saturday and listen to what the brother has to say, because he's very powerful. And I conclude on that and thank you. Wonderful show. Once again, Brother Gardner with Sister, you got the smart, you got the sister being, the goddess being the MC up there. Thank you, family.
Thank you. I'm sorry, could you repeat the time of the show? That sounds interesting.
It's this Saturday, 6:10, which I think down your way will be 5:10, right? Because we're up here in Jersey.
Correct. Okay.
Right.
I'm putting that on my calendar.
Thank you, sister. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Has anyone, any of our new members gathered themselves and want to speak on this topic or any other topic? Like Everett says, I am that current topic person. I like to go with the current topics that are put before us. So is there anyone else that has anything to say?
I apologize. Good evening, everyone. I'm just coming on, and I know I'm late, tardy as ever. Just briefly, what was the topic? I think I know, but briefly.
Sure, and I'm glad you're here. I was waiting to hear your voice, Ms. Evangeline. I look forward to it every week. We were discussing using the topic of Cat Williams and the things that he exposed, for lack of a better term, in his interview. And basically, well, first question was that, what is your opinion of that? Was that more of him pulling others down, like the crabs in the barrel mentality, or was that just him speaking his truth? And also stating that if we see something and we don't speak truth, are we then complicit to whatever the act that we saw?
Well, thank you. Before I begin, as a disclaimer, I love Cat Williams. I love Cat Williams as a comedian. Cussing doesn't bother me. It's my second language in my family. Even if you're calling it at me, it doesn't bother me, because what you say to me don't make me what you say. But I appreciate it. I watched two. I watched the one with Shay Shay and the one with Willie B, I think it was. I adored Cat Williams for his truth and his comedy before the interview. The truth in his comedy. Just like we can listen to lyrics of music and dance to it and praise and worship and all. I like the truth in his comedy. But in that interview, and both of them, I do not feel his intent was to bring anyone down, especially when you're speaking on issues that you were involved with that were publicly made anyway. I have a friend who says just that. He says, we're supposed to be lifting each other up. Everything doesn't have to be in the public. They're public figures. You can clock out. Not death, but, you can clock out of being a public figure if you don't want to be a public figure and want your information in the public. But he was responding to what was already on so many other tables at so many other times. And in some cases, he talked about other things with Will and Jada and the slap. I think that was him, but he speaks the truth. And he was just, telling it like it is. And I don't think it's a matter of the crab in the barrel. My friend also said he's so bitter. I said, bitterly honest? I know it's supposed to be brutally honest, right? I'm like, bitterly honest? People can't take the truth and the raw truth and from a man with such intellect. People put him, he's a genius. I don't know if you all know yet. I'm just coming on. He is a genius. I mean, because it's bigger than us. It is so, I appreciated what he said about the different religions. He's been in several. He says the only way you can know about them, you have to become a part of them in order to know about them. Other than that, it's hearsay, right? Get an understanding. But he said he knew at 5 years old he had a direct relationship and communication with God. And people, they kind of, put their eyes up in the air on that one. Oh, yeah, right. Oh, sure. Yeah, But if you're on social media and you see those 5 and 7 year old preachers out there, you can claim what you want to claim. But like I say, it's bigger than us. We cannot judge anyone on what they are gifted and given to do. Leaving home at 13 and living across the country on your own and doing it right, because it's bigger than us. So I'm so glad we're here tonight. No, but I really, him and Terrence Howard, I don't know if any of you have caught his interview. He is a scientific mathematical genius as well, with designed prototypes and an honorary doctorate. We see them how we see them in the movies and different things like that. But even Bernie Mac's daughter, I don't know if you saw that follow-up from her. She said he's telling the truth about that situation. He's telling the truth. There's not, I'm sorry, here in New York, transit says if you see something, say something. Well, because you are putting the truth on the table, okay, here's the catchphrases again, the truth hurts. Don't let it hurt. I just listened to someone give her whole story of her childhood, and she was truly mentally and physically abused as a child, but she's still carrying it. So it's so hard to move forward when you're carrying that baggage. Cat ain't carrying no baggage. Cat is light. He's a light dude. Right? Because he sheds it. He sheds it, like it or not. And then people say him now going on tour with Kevin Hart's ex-wife, Tori. She's going to be part of his tour group. They say, he shouldn't do that. She shouldn't. It's the business. They're not Kevin bashing. Nobody has to do that. It's okay. He's done well. And no one's perfect. But he's perfectly who he's supposed to be. He is perfectly who he's supposed to be, doing that thing he's supposed to do. Do you know what he does with his children? Do you know where he got his children from?
Didn't he adopt his children?
I think he has one biological, and the rest of the children are adopted. Because he said, since he was young, he told himself, if he ever made it to a level, that is the thing that he would do. He would take care of as many children as he could, and he has nannies. So he speaketh, he walketh, he talketh, he danceth, and he makes us laugh to it. I appreciate him. Thank you for the topic. Woo-hoo.
Thank you for your words, and it's interesting. That part about his life really captured me more than any of the sensationalized clickbait that people have been putting out there about the things that he had, what he said about different individuals. Just listening to him tell his story about being 13 and how he decided where he wanted to go and how he got there and what he did and, those different things. And just to know that a 13-year-old who left home still went to the library every day to keep up their intellect. Those are the kind of things that interest me even more than any of the things or people that he spoke on. I think everyone tonight is of the same consensus that it was more of truth-telling than anything else. It's also interesting that you talk about the young lady because my other topic that I was thinking about was some of the themes from The Color Purple. And so I decided not to do that because I thought that was a little too broad of a topic. My sister was involved with a panel of that really brought out a lot for me in terms of wanting to take that into a conference and take it steps further. But just to know that, and I had also talked about if you see something, say something. So we were basically on the same page tonight, ma'am. Yeah, and it was more along the lines of, here's the truth. Now do with it what you want. He's not telling you to no longer like this comedian. I'm just telling you the truth. What you do with it after that, that's up to you. So does anyone else, we're getting close to time, does anyone else have anything to contribute to tonight? Okay, I will take that silence as a no. We are getting close to time, and I just want to say thank you for those who came and spoke and gave their opinion, and to those who listened and may have formed their own opinions on the topic. So I just thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for supporting the CCC. And the floor is now yours, Mr. Smith, to close us out.
Hey, Mr. Smith, excuse me, permission to rant and rave again.
Go ahead.
We're going to talk about what Forrest talked about now. Since he said I can't use my high school picture, which I have one, but I have a photo ready to go. So if you and Angela and Andre, y'all take a photo, save it, send it to your phone, or send it to my phone through message, text. I will ensure. I think I have Brother Jorge's number. If not, I can get it. And I will forward that to him, and he can do what he does and upload it on the YouTube page.
Okay.
Will do.
Yeah, I have one I took somewhere the other day, and I'll crop it a little bit, and I'll get them together, and let's try to make that happen within the next 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
All right. That's all I got.
All right. Are there any other questions or concerns about anything that we've discussed this evening? Or anyone has any other announcements? Boy, this is a tough crowd tonight.
Yeah, it hurt my heart tonight. I was pulling teeth.
Yeah, this is a tough crowd tonight.
So if the new folks, I ain't trying to pick on anyone. If y'all gonna be this silent tonight, what's gonna happen when it's your night to bring the topic? Because I'm gonna tell you this, and this is how we do it. You can come with the topic, but you're not gonna just get a topic, name the topic, and open the floor. You got to give some substance to go with your topic, like Miss Angela did tonight. She talked for about 7 to 8 minutes and then turned it over. So that's kind of the way you want to do it. Put a little thought in your topic. When you do bring it, have something to support what you're talking about, and then the others can chime in.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like I said, we are going on year number 2 in July here, and so let's keep it going. Like I said, it's not no one gonna judge you, and the opinion is your opinion. Everybody has one. We're just here to inform, have some fun, and continue to be a family. Thank you very much.
All right. And with that being said, Angela, great topic as always. We'll ask again, any other questions or concerns? If not, the time I have is 9:53. So we're going to cut 7 minutes off of it tonight.
No, I have a question.
Okay.
Has anyone listening in encountered the movie Leave the World Behind?
Yes, I have.
I can't think. Okay, I haven't.
It is a very thought-provoking movie. I've discussed it with a few people, identified some things that were in there. If you watch it and you don't like it, force yourself to sit through it again, because there are messages there that are easily missed. Honestly, when I saw it, it puzzled me, and then I'm like, wait a minute. I started connecting the dots, and the dots got bigger. So I plan on watching it again, and that's saying a lot, because I can't stand to watch a movie more than one time. But this is a Yanni.
That's right. Anyone else, if I may ask? All you quiet folks, it's on Netflix. Anyone?
I have intended to watch it. I have it in my list. to watch, but if you're asking the question, I think I'll watch it tomorrow.
Thank you. And when I say the women are the heroes in that movie, hear me loud and clear. So, gentlemen, all of you listening, please watch it. Please watch the movie, listen to it. I think you could listen to it. Sometimes we don't have to sit and watch. We can just put it on and do the things that we're doing and listen. But it's powerful. And I had a slight conversation this evening about the ending, so I won't talk about it now. But you can call me if you've seen it and you want to discuss the evening, of course, the ending. But I know what the ending is saying. I know what the ending is saying, and I loved it. It came out in conversation today. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you.
All right. Well, we thank you for that. I'm going to have to put that on my list of things to do. But the way my schedule's running, it'll probably be after Easter before that happens. So, just got a lot going on. But again, we thank you all for chiming in, for all of the comments and concerns that were given. And we look forward to doing this again with you next week, where we'll have a new topic and a new person giving the topic. Until then, this is Hamp Smith,
we know
DCC.
who's giving the topic next week.
And
you put out a schedule. You put out a roster, right, of who's coming up with it.
I did.
Yeah,
it was. I'm about to say, I think I saved it. I know I saw it in the email.
Everything is on my phone, so give me 1 second and I can tell you who it is.
But while you still on,
I'm
going to let y'all know.
It will be a new member.
Okay, I'm going to let you guys know that if you're up, it'll be 6 o'clock our time. And they had a prayer call. I haven't been on every day, but I have participated, and that's a good way to get inspired and start your day. So 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock our time. So that's the daily prayer call for this network. Like I said, it's rather inspirational. Good way to start your day. All right.
And it's actually going to be Mr. Nicholas next week. Mr. Nick bringing the topic next week.
I'll be sure I let Nick know.
I'm sure you will.
That's fine. But like I said, if there's nothing else, we will consider this podcast over, and we will bid you all a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Be safe. Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Good night. Hey, Brother Ham, give me a call. Give me a call when you hang up.
Okay.